Yo guys, what's up? It's your boy Jesse. I want to come to you today with another video. I'm gonna make this one a little more serious, so I'm not gonna do the whole intro thing. This is going to be about my mental health journey and how things have changed. Before I get into it, if you guys like these videos, hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps me to keep making videos like this for you guys every day, and it lets YouTube know that maybe they should push these videos out a little bit. There you go. There's that. So, as many of you know, I've mentioned it before, I've been diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, narcissistic personality disorder, antisocial personality disorder. They're all part of a cluster. I don't remember what the cluster was called. And according to the military, I have attachment disorder, insomnia, depression, anxiety, all this other stuff. I think maybe some of that might be PTSD. They just didn't want to admit it. I just trust what the doctors say and go with it. From a young age, though, I have had mental health issues. I think I dealt with depression a lot as a teenager, but I had been in and out of hospitals for suicide at a young age, and that was tough for me. I went through a lot. I was on a lot of medicine too. And then as I got older, I went to college. My first 4 years in college, 4 years that I got my bachelor's. I went through a lot of that. That's when the insomnia really got bad, and the depression took a back burner almost. Depression wasn't as bad unless you count the one time that I had a serious relationship and it broke up, and I kind of lost my mind a little bit. But other than that, the depression wasn't too bad. The anxiety did get worse though. I did have anxiety because I remember having panic attacks quite a few times at my job, my work study job at a restaurant. I had a panic attack several times. And that's when I started seeing a therapist again, because I was seeing a therapist as a child, but then as an adult, I stopped when I went to college. And I started seeing a therapist in college, but when I got out of college, once again, I stopped. I went back to Franciscan University because I started working on a master's in mental health and counseling, and I had to start seeing a therapist again for depression. Eventually, though, that everything worked out. I ended up moving back to Kentucky. I didn't finish my degree, my master's in mental health counseling. Instead, I went another path. I was working at a mental health hospital for a while, and I went through a lot of jobs. I went through, oh God, Burger King. I went King Donuts. Worked at like 3 different hotels. Worked at a prison. I worked at as a substitute teacher. I worked at a mental health hospital. I went through a lot of jobs until I finally landed in the military. In the military, actually, my mental health got better. Everything got so much better. I wasn't dealing with all the issues that I had dealt with before. I got out of a lot of bad situations and had a more structured life. Then I had a very bad breakup, emotional breakup. It was with the first Filipina I ever dated. And that my whole life felt like it just fell apart, just completely crumbled. It was mostly my fault. I had done some things I shouldn't have done, but that doesn't mean it didn't hurt. It hurt. That's when everything in my life, all the guilt, everything I'd ever did, just felt like it all came at me at one time. To the point that I was hospitalized 3 times for suicide, and that's when I got all the different diagnoses for the things that I had. And I was put on medicine. I was seeing a therapist. Thank goodness I was doing something. That's also when I learned about Andrew Tate as well, though, and a lot of the stuff that he said was also helping me. And that's how actually I changed. I changed how I started to view relationships, started to view work. Everything changed when I started listening to him. And my mental health, once again, got better. That doesn't mean, though, that it won't get worse again. I know that I will probably have episodes now where I'm going to have to deal with some major depression. And I go through those episodes from time to time. They're not easy, but I'm getting to the point now that it's like I just focus on work, schoolwork, focus on prayer, focus on something. Because in my mind, I know that eventually it's going to pass. It's very different than a few years ago. A few years ago, I was ready to just end it all. But now I know that I just got to give it time. Time will let the depression pass and I'll be okay. I'll have a lot of energy and I'll be good to go. That doesn't mean it's easy, guys. It's not easy when you have mental health issues. It's hard, especially when you hurt people, especially when you hurt people that you really do love. And at the time, you're not thinking about that. Yeah, I don't know how to explain it. It's a strange thing, but you don't think about it like that at the time. Well, sometimes you do actually. Sometimes you start to think about the past and you start thinking, well, you started feeling guilty when you did this the last time, so maybe you should stop. But then something tells you to not stop. Those times are really hard. Then you're just kind of quiet and you just wait it out. It's not easy, guys. It's still not easy, despite how normal I might seem. Well, unless y'all have seen me in the live videos around a lot of people, then you know I might not be that normal. I do things that I regret because these extreme emotions. I've never physically really hurt. I've never physically hurt people, but I still say things. I react ways that I know I shouldn't, and it usually takes a day or two for me to come to my senses and stop thinking like that. Apologize. It's not easy, and I still go through those things, but I'm getting better. And if any of y'all are struggling with mental health and that kind of stuff, just know that there are people who can help. My fiance's helped me a lot. She's helped point out some of the things that I went through, that I'm going through. She knows when I'm having a bad moment. She helps point that out. Sometimes it snaps me back to my senses. Sometimes it takes more than that. But for those of you who are struggling with mental health stuff, know that there are people who care and there are people who do love you. And even if you feel like there's not, there's a way out. Oh, I did not mean to say it like that. There's light at the end of the tunnel. You can I don't want to say overcome it, because when people say overcome something, it usually means that once you overcome it, it's done. Usually mental health is not like that. Mental health is a lifetime struggle. But you can find ways to deal with it and cope with it. Doesn't mean it's always going to work. Doesn't mean that you're perfect. Doesn't mean that you won't mess up. Doesn't mean that you won't say or do things that you might regret later. But it does mean that you have it under better control. That'll mean a lot for yourself. It'll also mean a lot for the people who care about you. That's kind of my mental health story, guys. That's just what I wanted to say. Let y'all know a little bit about my past. I don't want to go too deep into my past because there still hurts. A lot of it I don't like to deal with. But I also wanted to let my friends on here know who are going through mental health issues, that it's possible to be able to live a happy, productive life. Know that you guys are valuable, that you matter. God bless.